Okay. Hey, welcome everyone to our second night in hand, probably the biggest one we have so far regarding one, number of people with over right now 22 people in attendance, and two, with kind of decisions we need to make tonight. And so I want to, number one, thank everybody that's here tonight, showing that you truly do care about the community, about what we do, the mission of Night in Hand to provide a safe, substance-free, and fun night for our graduating seniors. I appreciate you guys being part of this, and thanks for being here today. Um, so this is the way I see the meeting flowing and open to suggestions. Want to steer a certain direction. What I'd like to do is briefly go over the stuff that I posted on the read ahead on the Night in Hand webpage, which I assume most of you guys had a chance to look at and digest, and perhaps come with some questions or some thoughts. Two, show a couple of new things, new piece of data that I've gotten that hasn't been, just got it the other day, which was the survey of the students, the high school seniors. And then three, kind of open up for discussion. My goal for the discussion is basically keep it efficient and smooth. Try to allow people to have any points, but try not to be redundant in points. And make sure we're all on the same page, and then go to a vote. And my goal is to keep the discussion around 30 minutes or so, hopefully voting around 8:35 plus or minus a few minutes. And then once a vote is made, if it's a clear-cut decision one way or the other, then we'll go with that and kind of talk about kind of the next steps from there. The biggest things I think are really filling a lot of the volunteer positions, specifically for the auction and solicitations, are big fundraising type stuff, because that's kind of the next huge things that need to come up. There'll also be some other ones for the actual event itself, but obviously we have more time to prepare for that. But the fundraising is a big aspect of this that we need support with. So with that, let me call up the pros cons sheet and go from there. So I'm gonna try to share my screen, see how this goes. Any questions, comments before I jump into that? Okay.
There's one in the chat, Bill.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I do have a result of the survey, and I will show that in a little bit. So, first of all of you should have seen this. I'm trying to make this. Can you guys see the Night in Hand webpage here, by the way, which I'm sharing? I'm assuming yes, since I'm hearing no one say no. This is
Yes.
great. This is the webpage that we try to put together, trying to make it essentially somewhat of a one-stop shop for all things Night in Hand. It provides kind of what the gist of Night in Hand is. It provides information on the meetings, the Zoom link, which, since you guys are here, I assume you found that. As well as that link is on the right-hand side as well, along with the link for our Facebook page and the sign-up genius for volunteers, and the Venmo QR code for making donations. I intend to post the AI transcripts and the video from each meeting here, and provide essentially an agenda for all the upcoming meetings. So if there's things that need to be added on here, modify, change, anything you think to make this better, please let me know. I'm working with the IT guys at Daniel Hand High School or with the district, and they've been fantastic in trying to support us. So if you have ideas, let me know on that. So with that, let me jump to the survey and show you the results of that. I need to shift to a different screen. Got this. Okay. And so TJ sent out Principal Salvatore sent out an email to all the seniors this year saying, hey, what do you guys want? And basic question was, as a member of the class of 26, what location do you prefer for Daniel Hand Night in Hand? And basically giving three options: in the school, at an outside venue, or no preference. And so pretty solid percentage want to do it in the school. 60% in the school, 22% outside venue, and another 18% did not necessarily have a preference. So a strong support for in the school. As I see this as definitely a factor in our decision-making process. I don't see this as the one that says, hey, this kid decided where to go. I think we as adults that kind of know the big picture need to decide, but I think this is definitely a solid factor in how we want to go from here. The other thing just to think about this is, these kids are kind of answering somewhat without all the information. But I'm sure a lot of these kids have heard from either brothers and sisters, older brothers and sisters in the past that have done this. So they have some of the information from them, but they're answering it kind of with some limited knowledge. But that being said, definitely strongly in favor of keeping it in the school. Let me shift to this. Okay. I want to, like I said, review the review the pros and cons sheet that I put together. It has been updated slightly, but you should have seen this. I tried to, with the people that came to our meeting last month, ask for input, suggestions, and go from there. Put this in there. So I think this is relatively solid, but I'm sure different people have different opinions, and we'll open that for discussion here in a minute. Before I jump to that, just want to just say, hey, the population of the school has changed over the last decade or so, with 1,250 kids here, 13 years ago, down to 742. So kind of, if you think about it, the number of volunteers we have and the way Night in Hand was done 12 years ago, probably can't necessarily do it exactly the same way now, just because you get taken less money from students' fees as well as less number of volunteers. With that, this is what we put down for the pros and cons.
Hey,
Uh,
Bill, you're still
yes,
showing the survey results. Sorry.
thank you for letting me know that. I will see if I can fix that. Thanks.
Yep.
Is that better?
Yep. Now you got it.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate that.
Bill,
And
just
there's
before you
another.
start, there was a comment in the chat about how there were only 67 students that responded, and they're indicating 180 students total for the class.
That's
But I'm
correct.
not sure.
Hey, thanks for the feedback on that. So about a third of the class responded. Again, you can never get, I doubt you can never get 100%. But I think a third of the class is a pretty solid representation. So I think you can kind of take that, take those, you weigh the survey results as you want to weigh the survey results. But yeah, as a third of the class responded. So thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate that. So real quick, pros of Night in Hand. Hey, no transportation. It's at the school. We control the timing. We control the food. We control the entertainment. We control everything that happens at the school. Someone commented at our last meeting, hey, there's a sentimental value for those students coming to the school for the last time as they get ready as they graduate and move on. So there's some emotional value in doing it at the school. And then another person mentioned that, hey, there's an opportunity for more people to be involved. You can see there's a pro and con. The pro aspect of this, hey, as younger families are involved and see it and see what's about, they potentially builds on more spirit and support for future years. So it's kind of the pro side of that. On the con side of that, historically it's been expensive, but there's ways to address that. Hey, Kelly Harris, I think you're on this call here. I just want to say thank you so much for that very thoughtful feedback and what we can do differently. I really appreciate you providing some concrete information. We'll show that here in a little bit of how you can actually cut some costs and maybe keep it just as fun at the school. But like historically, it's been over $60,000. Of course, lots of volunteers. Historically, with the amount of decorations that have been done in the past, set up and take down. Historically, we spent about $6,000 to $7,000 a year for storage units. I know there's a question. I got a question from I think someone via email today about what exactly the storage units. We'll talk about that in a bit. And then this last one is a new one that TJ mentioned to me, and so I want to make sure this is understood. This graduation date has not been set yet. It's been recommended to have it on 17 June. The last day of school is a half day on 16 June. The school board should approve the graduation date in September, and then the last date. If there are any snow days throughout the rest of the year, those days will be tacked on. And so in the end, it could be that the seniors graduate on the 17th, but there's still school on the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. And so we would just have to work around that school schedule, meaning we would not be able to come in and set up until 1:45 the day of the event, and we have to have everything taken down by 7 a.m. If we follow a lot of Kelly's recommendations, kind of really scaling down decoration wise, I think that's very doable. If we've done it the way they did it in 24 and the previous years, where you just put days of time into setting things up, you just couldn't do it there with the time constraints we have. And then for Night Out of Hand, last year was the first year we did it, and last year was definitely less expensive at $30,000, and I think that's reasonable to keep it at that same price range if you kept it there doing it next year. A lot fewer volunteers for the specific nights. We had about 6 chaperones, about 10 people for checking in. You still need plenty of volunteers for fundraising, for the auctions, for solicitations, but the actual night is a lot less.
Hey, hey,
Depending
Bill.
what venue you choose, a large variety of options that you can choose from, depending what venue you're at. And so the one we were at last year had a climbing wall, bowling alley, arcade, bumper car stage, take, ropes course, other things. And again, you can go to an outside venue which has roller coaster rides, venues to choose from.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
Yeah, so sorry, Simon here. Just one little point. Because if you look at the data, it wasn't $30,000 last year. You spent $41,000 last year.
And
So just
thanks,
be
Simon. I
careful.
appreciate your point. I appreciate you pointing out the actual event itself. The actual event itself was $30,000. There was additional $6,000 to $7,000 for the storage sheds we had throughout the year.
Yep. Okay.
And some other
Yeah,
things.
we'll talk about. So we'll get into that in a minute because that I think is part of the issue. But all right, keep going.
Yep, thank you. The cons for the night out of hand transportation. You know, last year was a 90-minute drive, and that's a toll on the kids. We had nice buses, but those buses cost $6,000 to rent, which is included in that $30,000 fee. Depending, you can potentially find a close location, but again, quality of location and distance are a factor in what we can choose, as well as finding one that has a night that can support us. So the schools are already booking theirs as well, and along those lines, you need to book far in advance. So that was the pros and cons sheet. The other thing, I think Simon
Bill,
budget
I'm sorry.
aspect. Go ahead.
Bill, I'm sorry, Sherry Farmer here. I just wanted to add as one of the former Night and Hand chairs to the cons. One thing that was kind of the 2 years that I did it, that was kind of nerve wracking for myself and Beth O'Keefe. We had students leave the event both years. We were told by the Madison Police Department there was nothing they could do. That is very concerning. And I worry a little bit about the liability piece on our end. Those students came intoxicated. We gave them the opportunity thinking they would sober up. And as they did, they left the event. They went past the police officer in one year and then blew past volunteers at the door the other year. Despite all of our efforts and the efforts of the volunteers to get their keys, they had kept them on their person saying they didn't have them. So I just think it's something for us to take into consideration. Thank goodness nothing happened to those students. But as the chair, it was very concerning to myself and Beth when those things happened at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but Sherry, how is that any different from the kids not coming at all?
It's not. It's just I'm thinking of us as far as liability on our part when they're in our care. It's just something to take into consideration for the cons list.
Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate the feedback on that.
No, I guess I don't understand that. I mean, it's not an asylum. Like, we're not signing people in and taking responsibility for their well-being, are we?
To some degree, yes. I think we have some responsibility to make sure the kids are safe during this event. But I don't think we need to dig too much into that. Just a factor for people to consider that, hey, there's a little less control. At an outside venue, kids can still potentially leave, but they have to find a way to get home. And we can think of other ways to manage that to minimize the chance of kids leaving. But just a factor to consider. The next page I have called up here, which is the budget from kind of comparing 2024 to last year. And then the right-hand column, again, this is what Kelly Harris put together of ways, hey, we can potentially reduce costs to make it very comparable in price. And these are just some suggestions that could potentially work to get there. I'm not going to go too much in detail on this, but I think this brings a proposed night in hand in the school back to a similar budget to proposed night out of hand. Unless there's anybody that wants to comment more detail about that, I think that's kind of the general takeaway from this. We just have to recognize that there's some changing, and I think the biggest change would probably be in the decoration side of the house, where we have to significantly limit the number of decorations that we do. But I think if the goal was a fun, safe, and substance-free evening, I still think we keep it very fun that night, even with a lot less decorations. Any comments on this?
Hey, Bill, it's Kelly. So you can thank me, but Simon did a lot of it too. He's actually my husband. We just have different last names.
I did not know that. Thanks, Simon.
Sorry.
But the one thing I guess the one thing that, I want to make sure people kind of picked up on this is with this proposed change, this also goes back to Sherry and Beth did a phenomenal job in 2024 giving prizes to these kids. These kids walked away with TVs, with computers, with stuff. And the feedback we've heard from a lot of seniors from last year is there was no door prizes. They didn't play bingo and get door prizes, and nobody went home with a TV. So, we can keep the budget the same and make sure that kids are going home with items representing that they spent the night there.
Yeah, and thanks, Tony. I
Yeah,
think. Go ahead,
and
Simon.
yeah, well, so, and just to kind of add, so if you go through it, the philosophy around some of the suggestions was, so I think Kelly and I have a little bit of unique perspective because, we were there in 2024. We worked the event. Kelly was there all night. I was there for most of the night. And then my son participated in Night in Hand last year. So I got, very active feedback and observed the fender bender in the parking lot and all that sort of fun stuff from last year's experience as well. So it was easy. We were able to kind of compare and contrast and then, taking to heart, you've said it repeatedly, right? What's the goal here, right? To have a safe and fun night for the kids, to celebrate graduation in a safe way. And so when you look at kind of the suggestions, what we were trying to do is focus on the things that I think, our observations were of the things that the kids enjoyed the most and the things that the kids gave feedback on the most. And so namely, that was looking at ensuring like the food was really good, because that was a consistent feedback in both 24 and 25. 25, there wasn't really sufficient food. I will say my son is gluten free. He literally had nothing to eat all night. There was nothing reasonable that he could eat. The year before, it was we did like fast food, which got cold really quick. Like it just wasn't very nice. And so like we looked at the food and thought, well, from a community contribution standpoint, can we get food trucks and other things? And if you look at it like the 2024, the ice cream truck was a big success. Plus you didn't have any work in terms of setup or cleanup. And so if you had food trucks for the food, that eliminates the need for the setup and cleanup, right? And so another theme was not only concentrating on the things that the kids, enjoyed, but also trying to minimize the number of volunteers that we needed for setup and to minimize the number of volunteers we needed for cleanup. And then finally, like, I think a big challenge for volunteer labor is stuff that wasn't necessarily, I think is more appreciated by the community and the parents, but not necessarily the kids. And that's namely in 2024, I think they spent, I don't have it in front of me, I'm driving. So it's like, almost $13,000 in the decorations. I think the biggest kind of takeaway I took was, guys, we need to do stuff that doesn't require us to give whatever storage company it is, $7,000 of our hard fought money, storing stuff. Like, so a big premise behind a lot of the suggestions was do things that do not require us to store stuff. Either you're disposing of it at the end of the night or you're giving it away as a prize, right? Don't have any storage. We need to get rid of that storage. It is just, I feel like the kids have no idea that you have a storage locker. They don't appreciate it. And you're spending money on something that isn't really benefiting them. And so when you look at the kind of suggestions that were made, we tried to, obviously be mindful of the budget, yet impactful in the ways that we felt and observed the kids to really appreciate, and also take in the feedback of the things that the kids missed last year. So I'll get off my soapbox, but that's where all our thought process went.
Hey, thanks, Simon. Thanks, Tony, for clarifying that, and also thanks for providing that unique perspective of actually being there the last couple of years, or at least maybe not at this thing, but your son was there last year to provide that feedback. The other thing I really liked, the decision last year was not to do door prizes, and the rationale for that decision was, hey, some kids are winners and some kids are losers. Some kids come home with their PlayStation 5, and other kids come home with nothing, and so there's a little back and forth. So the thought process for the team last year was let's give everybody essentially the same sort of thing, a variety of gift cards and other things. And I know that there's people agree and disagree with that, and I'm not going to push one way or the other. But I like how your thoughts of, hey, we can buy a bunch of things instead of renting an arcade. Let's buy a bunch of TVs and PS5s playing throughout the night and use them as door prizes. And I think that's a really good, a much better use of money where, what you're using for entertaining, you're also giving kids as prizes in the end. So I appreciate your thought process on that. Any other comments on this kind of the budget types thing? The other thing I had up here, can you see the second tab I just opened?
Yes.
Okay, and that just shows essentially a breakdown, a big picture of what the budget's been the last decade or so, just so you can kind of see how it's kind of ebbed and flows, both the income and outcome. I know the numbers don't necessarily add up exactly, and because there's some other miscellaneous stuff in there, but this gives you at least a ballpark of how things have ebbed and flowed over the years. Okay. And I thought there was one more thing I want to share, but maybe that was it. Oh yeah, there's one more thing I want to share. I'm sorry. 1 second, please. Apologize. No, I think that was the other thing was the budget thing, but I think we're good on that. So I'm going to stop sharing here and let's talk.
Bill, can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Hi, Bill. It's Nancy Bordeaux.
Hey, Nancy.
So in the new budget, are you talking about eliminating decorating in total? So
Simon, I'm going to let you and Kelly kind of chime in on what your thoughts were on that.
So we weren't talking about decorating, like eliminating all decorations, but what we were thinking of is like we all are going to do for our kids at home. We're going to decorate for a graduation party. So we decorate the school for graduation, or I think Happy had an idea, like the Polson dance, they do a luau, something that's, we can easily put a few things out there and the kids will have a theme, but not to the extent that we're spending, $11,000 on lighting and it's taking months to build a Tower of Terror.
Yeah, and so it's a much smaller scale, something that can be done in just a few hours time, and that costs a lot less. And I think the budget the money you put at was I don't know, was it $1,000, $2,000? I forget what you proposed.
We put some money in, and again, guys, this isn't like
Yeah.
set in stone. These were suggestions.
Yeah.
I think the point was whatever decorating you do, it either the kids can take it home, or it gets discarded. You're not spending. I mean, look at the historical numbers. We spent $11,000 last year on stuff that wasn't the event. So where did that money go? It went to a storage locker company. Like
right,
that's
well,
insane in my mind.
Just
What
to
are you
share,
storing?
well,
What are
I
you
can
storing?
Yeah, and so there's a lot of stuff. Basically, it's a lot of decoration type stuff from previous years, thinking, hey,
Right, but
going forward.
why?
I'm with you, Simon. I'm with you.
I get. My point is like,
Yep.
It's just like your own home. Like I'm pretty sure none of us would want to spend $11,000 storing stuff that's worth $5,000, right? Like it doesn't make any sense. So
Yeah,
like
100%.
you got to look at what are you storing, and is it really worth the $11,000 a year that you're spending on storing it, or do you just buy stuff and then give it away every year and save the $11,000?
Yeah. So I think the actual cost is between $6,000 and $7,000 for storage, which is fine. And I think the initial question was kind of what are we doing for decorations? And bottom line, it's something nice but simple, a couple hours, not a ton of money. Does that
all right,
answer?
so can I just ask another question?
Yeah.
So it historically, I think a lot of what's in the storage units, and there's a few people on the call who would be able to also help on that, but they're the panels where though, and the stuff for murals, and all of those things were used to kind of create different spaces and little areas around the theme. So what I meant more was, yes, if there's decorations like you do for the Polson gym, but otherwise the school will look like it normally does to them. It won't look like it used, like you're not going to do, I understand we're not going to go back to what it was in 2018, but decorations were scaled down for COVID year in 21, scaled down in 22 and other
Yeah,
years.
I think you're
I
So,
absolutely
guess,
right, Nancy.
I guess the hard question is, what is that worth? And if you're in the position of, I mean, because the kids didn't get that last year, right? And so if you're in a situation where we're trying to kind of be more economical and we're trying to be more focused on what the kids truly value, the question is that something that is worth the cost and expense of not only all the labor and money that goes into refreshing that every year, but then all the money that goes into storing it. And if you have to make hard decisions around what are we prioritizing, I mean, if we sit here and vote and make it night out of hand again, those are just going to sit in a storage locker another year, and we're going to spend what, another $6,000 storing it.
Does that answer your question, Nancy?
yeah, yes.
Okay. Any other comments that people have, any discussion points, things that bring up that haven't been discussed yet? Feedback you have?
Katie has her hand up.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Just go ahead, Katie.
That's okay. The only thing I just wanted to add to that is, you know, if we are talking about reducing decorations, then the survey is kind of moot, because I think what the kids have either walked through in the past or heard from previous students was a complete transformation of their high school experience, right? I don't think anybody would disagree that spending money on the storage is kind of wasteful, in terms of, you know, what the kids get out of it. You know, I think back in the day, it was very valuable in terms of the overall experience, and you know, reusing things. People were so creative when we had, you know, huge classes in recreating, whether or not it was, you know, a horse into a unicorn, into a cowboy, into a whatever. And so that justified the use of the storage thing. I think regardless of what happens, I believe the usefulness or the justification of a storage unit has outlived what it benefits in terms of the size of the student body. But so I just wanted to point out that, you know, if we are comparing apples to apples, it's hard to expect kids and the lore they have heard about Night in Hand of the past and expect that their responses and what they're expecting, whether they have grandiose ideas or not, will be the same this year, and then, you know, move forward on that decision or not. It doesn't seem like we're comparing apples to apples, is my point.
Yeah, and I think thanks, Katie. And I think that again, it's hard to read exactly the survey, what the kids know, what they don't know. You just gotta take on board what you think, but I hear you.
I have a question about the venues, but it sounds like we're really leaning more toward staying in the school. So I don't want to take up time with them unless
No,
seriously
just to be
considering
clear, I hope no one's getting the impression that we are leaning one way or the other. And just kind of trying to get the input. I think let me just say, I think at the last meeting, I'll be very honest and frank, I was leaning very hard for going back to Night Out of Hand for a variety of reasons. And
Mhm.
so that meeting kind of started off that way, and there are a good chunk of people at that meeting last thing that say, "Hey, no, you really should consider Night in Hand." And there's a spirited back and forth. And so we spent a good amount of energy, I think, over the last month, kind of looking at laying out some pros and cons, talking over, thinking through other options. And so I think part of that is people said, hey, how can we make Night in Hand more doable, volunteer wise and money wise? And I think that's why we may be getting that perception. But I still think all options are open here, and that's kind of why we're having this discussion. So yeah,
Okay.
what were your thoughts on
Yeah, that wasn't a criticism. I just, I mean, I guess just reading the comparisons or the details about some of the venues that were under consideration. One of my questions was about the costs that were listed were very hard to compare because they were so disparate, like $30 or 50 versus like something would say $10,000 or $15,000. So I was like really confused about that.
You know, and I'll take full responsibility for that. That's kind of me. A good amount of research was done last year as we get ready to do that, and so some of those numbers for last year is probably not as clear.
Interesting.
But the
get
only hard data I know, we've
No.
got a hot mic out there somewhere.
Someone's mic is on.
Megan, your mic is on.
The only hard data I know is that we spent essentially $12,000 to do it at the Danbury Extreme Play, and that had, like I said, the list of things I mentioned before: laser tag, climbing wall, bumper cars. There's other venues out there that have other things you could do it at, and those prices may be cheaper or more expensive. I just didn't put a lot of energy in getting those hard numbers because I didn't want to expend that energy when we may not even do that. So that's kind of why it's kind of not
Okay.
great data there.
Yeah, and Bill, sorry, I know I'm being a bit difficult tonight, but just in point of clarification, yes, the venue cost 12,000, but you then spent another $6,000 in 3 hours round trip getting kids there.
Simon,
so let's
yeah,
not
and so-
forget that.
Yeah, so to be clear, exactly right. So that other,
So it's
you know,
$18,000.
that other $18,000 will be on top of whatever that venue costs most likely. So you're absolutely right, and so I hope I didn't mean to give the wrong perception there.
So I just the other questions that I had, one was like for those venues, have they all been visited by people involved with Night in Hand? No.
No, some of them have,
Okay.
but most of them have not. Most of them just been online, looking at online. We talked to some people, but when I put that list together, I'm sorry, when I updated that list of what someone put together last year, I tried to put what I thought was rank order. Like I put kind of what I thought were the best venues near the top, and the ones that I thought were not so good near the bottom. Based on some of the ones near the bottom look more maybe tweenish, vice 17-year-oldish entertainments. And just kind of what I thought maybe a 17-year-old would like versus whatever. So there's
Right. Okay. Yep. That makes sense. And then I'm sorry, everybody, but like for Urban Air and Orange, which obviously is the closest, there was a note on it that said the difference is the food, and I didn't know what that meant, if that were a positive thing or
it dealt with the price. I think there may have been two different prices listed on there, and the higher price included food, lower price didn't.
okay.
Yeah, I think that's why that was. And again, I apologize for that not being real clear. Again,
Okay, that's okay. It's just
didn't put too much energy into researching because I didn't want to waste time if it wasn't going to be used. Other comments about outside venues, other comments about anything else?
No, and Bill, we're at you know, almost 20 of, so I just wanted to let you know.
Awesome. If there's no other comments, I'm gonna do what's. Go ahead.
I do. I'm sorry. Hi, my name is San. This is thank you for organizing this. I guess I hear everybody. I think there is no doubt the cost is going to be lower if we do outside. That I think that's the fact. But I think one of the things that my concern is we're doing it for the kids, and our goal is to keep the kids most interest. We want to pick the one because we don't want. Do we want to go into a direction doing all the stuff? At the end, we're not getting the most appreciation from the kids. But for me, I almost feel like we should take a step back. Having 67 is just not enough data to really say the kids wanted to be in school. I know, we talk about all the detail, but at the end, it is for the kids. And I don't want to put so much effort at the end, the kids not getting the full enjoyment and ending up spending more. I think we really should, aside from the parents, we like to control a lot of stuff as parents, but at the end, I think the best way is there a way we could do another bigger survey where we can find out most, at least like 80% or 90% of the kids, where do they really want? Because I'm a kid, like I know if I am a kid, I would like to go to a venue, just to be honest, like where there's more activities. There's, rock climbings and all. There's definitely, it is no doubt outside. They're professional. They'll do more activity, probably better than us. As a parent, we're not like, this is not our specialty. The professional, they do this. I don't mind either way, but at the end, I want the kids has the best memory when they leave hand. And I want to make sure their voice is also here, not 67 kids, but majority, much more. But that's just mine.
Saying thank you so much for your comments. And I think in an ideal world, it'd be great to get that. Every single high school senior had the opportunity to reply to that survey, and 67 chose to. And so I think it's gonna be hard to get the 90% that we want to, unless we have them locked in the room and make them vote. The other factor to consider is that I have a list of I think 10 different outside venues. Yes, some kids may like this trampoline park, some may like this roller coaster park, some may like this other one. And in the end, I think you're not gonna get everybody 100% happy. I think we saw from last year that there are people that had a great time at Night on Hand, and there are people that didn't. That is okay, or maybe didn't like it. I think it's the same thing at Night in Hand as well. Some people have a great time, and some people say, I just want to go home. It's 2 a.m. And so we're not gonna make everybody happy. And I think we gotta. I think as I left the meeting that we did a month ago, that bottom line, the kids have to go there with the mindset, I'm going to have fun, and we got to do the best to set up that fun. And I think we can do probably equally good, although different activities, both in hand and out of hand. In hand, we're limited in what we can bring into the school. Out of hand, there's different bigger activities we can do, but then you're kind of constrained to that one thing. So yeah, I appreciate your comments, but those are my thoughts on that. Anybody else want to chime in before we jump into a vote?
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
I put it in the chat, Bill, but I don't know if you've been to Night in Hand, but we do hire the party professionals to come in, and they set up the bounce houses. We have, a lot of, it's not parents running everything. They're focused on what the kids like to do. And believe it or not, I mean, Simon will tell you there's lots of parents. We joked about how much these kids love playing bingo. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of surprising, but yep.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna. So there's this poll feature. I tested it with my wife last night. It was successful. I'm gonna put it out there. It's a 1-question poll with 3 possible answers of in the high school and an offsite venue or no preference. So I'm gonna click. I can't see your answers. I can just see how many people answered and what the total percentage is. And so I just launched the poll. You should see that come up in your thing. I asked if you're a family, only 1 person per family vote. Obviously I can't control that, but if I'd like to try to make it just one per family. And when the results are all in, I will share it. And right now we're at 17 of 22 that have voted so far.
Bill, just this is Bridget. I just wanted to add something from this. The sentimental value, I think, is we can't put a cost on that or price tag on that. And I graduated from Hand, did the Night in Hand back in the day. We had really simple decorations for that. It was like a Hollywood theme, and they just put gold stars on the floor with all of our names on it and a red carpet. And it was simple, so the school wasn't really transformed physically too much. It was just more, there was a lot of activities for us to do. There was a lot of games, a lot of prize winning, things like that. And just, it was like a say goodbye to the school thing. And so it was, a very sentimental time that I still recall.
So you're saying basically there's a way to do it, keep it simple and still have a good time for the kids. Okay. 20 of 23 answers, been open for a minute and a half. I'll give people another 20 seconds and we're gonna end it, and I'll show the results here. And again, while we're waiting on that, I just want to say thanks to everybody. You know, everybody in this meeting, no matter what the results of this poll is, hey, they truly care about their kids and want a great event for them. So I appreciate you guys being here, and I appreciate you guys being part of the team going forward to help make this a great event. Lots of work, lots of work between now and June 17th to make this happen. And so we need all hands on deck to help them come together. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end this poll.
I
And
like that Hollywood theme. We should keep that in mind. That seems easy, and I think they would like that.
I like it too.
You can kind of recycle a theme every 4 years because there's always a new plan. Heck, you can recycle a theme every year. So here are the results. I think you guys can see this. So the vast majority, 17 out of 21, said, hey, we should keep return it to the school this year. With just a 3 of 21 saying do it outside. And so I think the decision is pretty clear there. So that's the path we'll go down. And so with that, now it's kind of, hey, what needs to be done between now and then to make this happen and make it a successful, fun, quality, substance-free event for our kids. Okay. So I think the biggest thing is really volunteer-wise. I'm going to share my screen again and show the sign-up genius here. And I just want to talk over kind of where we're at and where I think we need to go. But I'm definitely open to inputs on what other people think on that. So let me share my screen.
Hey, Bill, just, you know, now that we have the decision, I think we need to get more volunteers. We have to let people know that the decision's been made and where it's going to be. And then I think that's where we have the opportunity to get more volunteers.
Yeah, of course. And I think, so let me just go to the sign up genius here, Happy. And so showing we're definitely in not horrible shape, but definitely work to be done. The things that concern me most are kind of chairs and stuff kind of leading up to it. We put a kind of a general volunteer out there, 26 folks have signed up for that, which is fantastic. And I think those are people who can reach out to directly and say, hey, can you volunteer for this, volunteer for that? We initially didn't do class representatives, but someone said, hey, let's do that for each one. And so the purpose of those representatives are to basically to help recruit volunteer parents from that class. The biggest things I think we need is solicitations, someone to take charge of this, because that's where a lot of our money comes in to help support Night in Hand. And so we need someone to kind of lead solicitations. We need someone to lead the auction, because that's the other big event that brings in $13,000 last year, more in the past. And so those are the two big ones. We do have a few people that volunteered for auction type stuff. I really need someone to take the lead on that. And I think those are the two big chairs I read now. I think we need now. I'm open to hear any thoughts of other ones that you think we need to jump on board with. I know I need to update this sign up genius now for out of hand, for in hand to include things such as food for that night, entertainment for that night, decorations for night. And as we get closer to the springtime, we'll put in an actual sign up list for time slots for security and chaperones. But in the meantime, I think this auction and solicitations are the bigger one. And so the 22 people on this call, anybody want to say, hey, sign me up?
Bill, there was a question in the comments regarding when the auction is. It is not scheduled yet, but it is usually in the spring. So typically the auction chairs get together with the venue where they're going to have it. I would recommend doing it at the VFW again. We do have a contact there to get to be able to use that building. It was very inexpensive and it worked out perfectly and it was a great location. So I would recommend that again, because when we did it at Laurelwood, it's the price keeps going up there and we had to pay it. So
Awesome.
Bill.
Yeah, so last year I think it was in April.
Bill,
Hey,
this
Bill.
is Tina.
Yes, Tina.
Oh,
I'll volunteer to chair the auction.
Tina, thank you so much. Greatly appreciated.
And I think I have after a conversation with someone today, I think I have an idea for solicitation as well.
Okay, that would be great. And I tell you, there definitely be a coordinated effort between those two, so we're not double tapping and we're just kind of working as a team as we head down that path. So awesome.
Is there written information on last year's event somewhere?
Yes, well, there's plenty of written information. We'll
yeah,
work to
there's a binder.
Okay, thank you.
Also, Regarding the storage units and getting those emptied. So I don't mind spearheading that. I'm obviously gonna need help. I had a thought of just kind of like opening them, advertising that we're opening them, and then asking for donations as people take stuff. So if somebody wants to grab I mean, certain things will go through, but like some of the stuff is curtains and other things that got made over the years. So
And Janice, yeah, this is Lisa. I agree with
yeah.
you on both. It's one, the auction where it was a great venue. I agree. And then with the storage units, I know Hands on Stage would like some of that information, that I guess supplies that we
Yeah,
have.
Dawn's
They
been
have
working
things-
with them on that already. Yeah, and
Perfect.
they've
Okay.
grabbed a bunch of stuff already. But the problem is they don't
Perfect.
have a lot of storage either.
Right. They
So
have limited there at the school.
everybody's
So
having storage problems.
I'm happy to help you too
Oh,
with
great.
whatever we
Awesome.
need to do. If we want to set up something to get that, gone,
Yeah,
happy to help.
yeah. I figure the fall time would be nice because it wouldn't be too hot in there.
So I just wanted to say that, not last year, but the 2 years before that, I was not an auction chair, but I helped a lot and I'd be happy to help again. I just don't want to be a chair because this is Aviva, by the way, I'm sorry. I am president of the Music Boosters and it's just a lot of work. But I would be happy to help with the auction procurement, trying to get basically donations of stuff and gift cards. And I do think we need to start that pretty early so that we're not scrambling at the last minute.
Thanks, Aviva.
Yeah, and Bill, Simon here. So I talk the talk, so I better walk the walk. So, I'll take on the entertainment portion. So think we did this previously, but all the entertainment. So the
Awesome.
magicians, the hypnotist, I don't know, whatever we end up
Yep.
deciding
Gotcha.
on, and then including we'll figure out the arcade stuff.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks, Simon. I appreciate that. Okay. So this is good. It's less than an hour, and I think we're kind of at the end of our meeting here. I'm gonna update the sign up genius. I'll add the few names in there that have volunteered, and other people want to as other people want to, please sign up as well, and we'll kind of build the momentum from here.
And Bill, can you just add the clean out storage units as a
Yes.
section there?
Yep.
And then Lisa and I can contact whoever else signs up.
Awesome. I will do so. The next meeting will be a month from now. But obviously work needs to be done. Kind of the chair's kind of leading the charge, heading up to that. And so Tina, I'll touch base with you about auction type stuff. And then for the people that share different things, you don't have to wait till this month to get your team together. You can get your auction team together, in between as appropriate to manage stuff. And yeah, I really appreciate the energy, the attitude, the enthusiasm, and the support that you guys provide. I'm excited about what lies ahead, and excited about returning to In Hand next year and making an awesome event for our kids.
Yeah, and Tina, if you have questions about auction after you see the binder, or before, whatever, let me know. I did chair it 2 years ago.
Awesome. Any other comments before we call it a night?
Only, Tina, if this is Aviva, I wouldn't mind connecting with you early on. So, I don't know if you know how to get in touch with Janice, she could give you my email or text, cell phone number or whatever. Are you there, Tina, or no?
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, okay.
Anything else? Anybody else?
Thank you, Bill, for getting all the
Bill.
dates for
So,
everyone
Bill,
and organizing.
yes, and we still need a chair though for procurement. Is that what I heard? What I'm hearing? Not procurement, for solicitation.
Yeah, Tina says she may have a friend that can support with that.
Oh, okay, that's right. I'm sorry. I was thinking about storage unit.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna stay online if everyone wants to chat more afterwards. Otherwise, enjoy your night and welcome back to school for all your kids. So exciting! Enjoy your Labor Day weekend.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Bill. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Bill,
Thanks.
and everyone else.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, Bill, it's Chris Scarice. I'd have one quick question I didn't want to bug everybody
Go ahead,
with.
Chris.
Is there, so I don't have any kids in the school system, so sometimes I think I don't get stuff. So I appreciate when you forward it again.
Oh my gosh, I
'cause then
don't think I said. Oh, I did. I did last year. Yeah, I did. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But as far as contacting, like some of the folks that just said they would do this or that, is there a way that we could somehow reach out to them without having to bug you to reach them or?
Yeah. So I will send out. So I put together essentially a list of kind of when I send that mass email to everybody, I put everybody's a BCC. It's about 140 people on there that were volunteers last year and the year before, and that have started volunteering this year. I will share that with you. And do you think I can share with anybody? I don't know. I want to share people. I want to.
Yeah, I mean, at minimum,
Well,
like some of the chairs,
how
like
did you get their emails? If you got their emails from the people, then you can
From
share it.
Sign Up Genius. Like essentially you can download the list from Sign Up Genius. So
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's fine. That's fair game.
okay. So
Yeah.
I'll push it out.
yeah. Just like the contact list, like
Yep.
these are the, yeah.
Yep.
Well, and what you would do, Bill, when you push it out, just say this, I'm sending the list out, everyone on the Sign Up Genius, so chairs can contact the people who have signed up in their area. Because
Perfect.
they need those to sign
Yes.
up.
Absolutely
Yeah.
right. Yep.
So we're good.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Good. Thanks, Bill, for organizing all this. There was a lot of work.
No, I appreciate it.
And a lot of charts.
A lot of sure. So,
But I think it was helpful, and I mean, I love Kelly's ideas, and well, I didn't realize Simon was her husband either. So Simon and Kelly's ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's I was definitely you saw the email I said. I was frustrated after last meetings. I think we all were.
Yeah.
And just to see both her and Simon kind of take concrete action to address concerns and
Yeah.
find a way to get to yes, or find a way to get it back in hand. I appreciate it. I hate
Yeah.
people talking and not doing anything, but
For sure.
the fact that it makes me really happy. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I'm hoping that we can use the purging of the storage units as a little fundraiser.
Yeah.
Just like, sure, we won't like
Absolutely.
necessarily sell things, but we're gonna ask for a donation. Like if you're gonna take our
Donation.
shit, like you're gonna give us something.